The moment that changed everything began on a quiet Thursday morning at Jefferson City Central Park, when the sun was still soft, the breeze still gentle, and the world still innocent enough for hope to survive. Ethan Carter, a single dad and night shift janitor at Roosevelt Elementary, had only one wish that morning: to give his daughter Lily a peaceful breakfast before school. She loved the small diner across from the park, the red booths, the soft jazz music, and the smell of waffles that drifted out every morning. But on that day, peace didn't last long. Ethan noticed a young girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, standing near the entrance of the diner. She wasn't crying, but she looked as if every tear she had was waiting just behind her eyes. Her clothes were dusty, her posture frozen, and she kept glancing back at a woman in uniform, a U.S. Navy servicewoman, who stood just a few steps away, visibly shaken and whispering rapid, breathless words into her phone. Lily tugged on Ethan's sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, please help her." Ethan had always been the quiet kind. The kind of man who didn't take up much space, who worked nights because it paid an extra $1.50, who carried the weight of his world alone so his daughter never had to feel it. But something about the little girl's eyes made him pause. He walked toward her gently, slowly, making sure not to frighten her. "Hey," he said softly, "are you okay? Are you lost?" The young girl nodded, then shook her head, then finally whispered, "My mom. She fainted earlier in the car. She woke up, but she still can't really walk. And I didn't know who to ask." Ethan immediately looked toward the servicewoman, the mother, trembling slightly but trying to stay upright. Her uniform was wrinkled, her shoes dusty, as if she had been traveling for hours. "Ma'am," Ethan said politely, "can I help you sit down? Are you hurt?" She shook her head. "Not hurt, just exhausted. I came straight from deployment. Haven't slept in 2 days. I was trying to get my daughter home, but my vision went blurry." Ethan guided her to a nearby bench inside the diner. A bus rumbled past on the street. The morning crowd rushed in and out. The world kept moving, unaware that someone was silently falling apart. Ethan asked the diner staff for water, and Lily brought it over with both hands. The little girl thanked her in a shy whisper. "Daddy," Lily whispered again, "can we stay with them?" Ethan smiled gently. "Of course, sweetheart." While the servicewoman, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Nolan, rested, Ethan called a local cab company. But each cab claimed delays, so he offered something else. "My shift doesn't start until evening. I can drive you home if you're comfortable with that." Sarah hesitated, weary, embarrassed, but finally nodded. "Thank you. I didn't want my daughter to see me weak today." Ethan shook his head. "Ma'am, she sees you as the strongest person in the world. Needing help doesn't change that." When they stepped outside, Ethan held the car door open for the child while Lily helped her climb in. A helicopter from the nearby military base roared overhead, moving across the sky like a silver guardian. Sarah smiled faintly at the sight, a reminder of home and duty. It was supposed to be a simple ride home, just kindness, nothing more. But fate had different plans. When Ethan dropped them off at their small townhouse on the edge of the city, Sarah thanked him 3 times. Her daughter hugged Lily tightly before running inside. Ethan thought the moment was over, but it had only begun. Because the next morning, before sunrise, a black SUV rolled quietly into the school parking lot, where Ethan was mopping the floors. Then another, then a third, and out stepped a full United States Navy Admiral. Looking for him, Ethan Carter froze with his mop still dripping water onto the tile floor. It was 6:15 a.m., too early for teachers, too early for parents, and definitely too early for military officials. The double doors opened and Admiral James Rowan, tall, composed, and carrying the unmistakable air of leadership, walked toward him. 2 officers stayed behind, waiting respectfully. "Are you Ethan Carter?" the Admiral asked. Ethan swallowed. "Yes, sir. Is something wrong?" The Admiral's stern expression softened. "No. Everything is right because of you. Ethan blinked, confused. Rowan continued, Yesterday, you helped Lieutenant Commander Sarah Nolan and her daughter. She informed us last night. What you did mattered more than you realize. Ethan shook his head, embarrassed. Sir, I just gave her a ride home. Anyone would've. The Admiral raised a hand gently. Most people walk past situations they don't understand. You didn't. You stepped in when a mother in uniform was moments from collapsing. You helped her child stay calm. And you did it without expecting anything in return. Ethan didn't know what to say. The Admiral looked around the empty school hallway, the flickering fluorescent lights above reflecting on the waxed floor. You're a single father. You work hard nights and still had the heart to protect someone else's family. Ethan shrugged quietly. It's what decent people do. The Admiral smiled, a real, genuine smile. Then the world needs more people like you. They walked outside, where the early morning breeze carried the smell of pine from the nearby woods. A city bus rumbled down the road. Teachers were just beginning to arrive. One of the officers handed Ethan a sealed envelope. From the Department of the Navy. Ethan opened it carefully. Inside was a letter, formal, stamped, signed. A commendation, in recognition of exceptional civilian kindness. But there was more. The Admiral cleared his throat. Ethan, Sarah explained your situation. She told us about your overnight shifts, raising Lily alone, the sacrifices you've made quietly for years. Ethan's eyes lowered. He didn't like people knowing. He never wanted pity. The Admiral continued gently. This isn't charity. It's respect. We would like to offer you a position at the Navy Community Logistics Center. Day shifts, better pay, full benefits, childcare support. Ethan stared at him. Sir, I'm just a janitor. Rowan shook his head. You're a man who acted when it mattered. Skills can be taught. Character cannot. Ethan felt something inside him crack. The part of him that had been holding everything up for too long. The late nights, the bills, the loneliness, the constant fear of not doing enough for Lily. And now someone was giving him a chance. A real one. Think it over, the Admiral said. But if you accept, you'll start Monday. Before leaving, Rowan added, Lieutenant Nolan asked me to tell you something. He paused. She said you reminded her what kindness looks like back home. When the SUVs drove away, Ethan sat on the school steps, holding the letter in both hands. The sun was rising now, painting the sky shades of orange and pink. Lily ran toward him from the playground, her backpack bouncing. Daddy, you're smiling weird. What happened? Ethan lifted her into his arms and spun her gently. Something good, sweetheart. Something really good. They went to the park after school, the same one where it all began. People jogged by. Couple walked their dog. Birds gathered near the fountain. The world felt brighter for reasons Lily didn't yet understand. But she would, because acts of kindness echo, and sometimes they come back louder than you ever imagined. Ethan walked into the Navy Community Logistics Center wearing the only clean button-down shirt he owned. Lily held his hand tightly, excited and proud. The receptionist welcomed them warmly and led Lily to the childcare room, which looked more like a small magical library than a daycare. Ethan started his orientation with a nervous smile, but everyone treated him kindly. They knew his story, not because he sought attention, but because Sarah had spoken about him with gratitude deep enough to move an entire chain of command. During lunch break, Ethan stepped outside and saw something unexpected. A Navy motorcycle parked near the entrance, shining in the sunlight. Beside it stood Sarah Nolan. She waved. Thought I'd check on your first day. Ethan laughed softly. You didn't have to. I wanted to. She looked healthier now, well-rested, steady. You helped me when I needed it most. I won't forget it. They walked slowly toward the courtyard, where families sat under tall maple trees. The city skyline glowed in the distance. Tall glass buildings, busy streets, and the hum of afternoon traffic. A helicopter flew overhead, peaceful and steady, heading toward the military base. Sarah asked, "How are you feeling about the job?" Ethan exhaled. Hopeful, scared, grateful, everything at once. She nodded. That's normal. New beginnings usually feel like that. Lily ran out of the daycare building, waving a drawing of her dad standing beside a Navy officer, with the words "My hero" written in uneven crayon. Ethan felt himself choke up. For once, life felt like it was giving instead of taking. And in that moment, surrounded by the breeze, the distant sound of buses, and the soft laughter of children in the courtyard, Ethan understood something powerful. A random act of kindness doesn't stay small. It ripples, it returns, and sometimes it builds a new life. Weeks later, Ethan settled into his new position. Lily made friends. Sarah recovered fully and visited often. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one voice whispering, "Daddy, please help her," to change the course of many lives. Ethan never asked for recognition. He never asked for rewards. He simply acted out of kindness. And kindness found its way back to him in ways he never imagined. Dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to comment your thoughts below. Your words mean a lot and help this channel grow. Please like this video, share it with your friends, and help spread more stories of kindness around the world. And if you haven't already, kindly subscribe to the channel Kindness Quest, so you never miss another inspiring and heartwarming story. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you so much for watching.